What's up guys? Today I'm going to rank the current legendaries in game and give you my general thoughts and reasoning behind each of my rankings. If you're sitting on 2000 shards and you're on the fence about what legendary to craft, hopefully this list will be of help to you. So let's just jump right in and get to the listing. This is where I'll rank all the legendaries. Feel free to take a screenshot or pause the video if you want to see just the entire list, but I'm going to dive into my reasoning behind each of my placements for every legendary. So let's start by talking about the S tier. Now the S tier are cards that are extremely powerful and extremely flexible. They can fit into almost any type of deck and provide benefits no other cards in the game can. If you're looking to finish up any deck and don't know what additional cards to add, these will be your go-to for almost every single deck possible. So the first card is Xiaolong. This card punishes your opponent for a whopping 250 damage every time they play a spell. It is currently the only card in the game that plays against spells in any manner, and it is a flying unit with a solid amount of DPS and health to boot. It's not uncommon for this thing to be ran double of in any deck, or for it to be the sole reason for a victory. If you have shards laying around and don't have them yet, feel free to craft them. After that we got Gax the World Bomb. Gax is a card whose value is only limited by the number of minions in the arena. Sure, he's got some risk involved with him since he also damages your minions, but the risk is entirely within your control when you play him. You can use him to recover from a huge swarm, or force your opponent to get mana capped while you recover. Really, his potential is only limited by how good you are with him, so make sure to get some practice in with Gax, and he'll be sure to save you time and time again. Now after the S tier we have the A tier. These cards are overall solid cards altogether. They can replace standard cards in almost any deck, or their value is so good it's worth building an entire deck around it. They may not be auto-include, but they're definitely worth considering for almost any deck that you build. First off we got the Dragon Nest. This is a card that I was so tempted to put in the S tier because of pure value that it can put out, but unfortunately it isn't the most flexible card out there. You need to be running multiple spells in order to get any value out of this thing, and in a game where Xiaolong is king right now, it's pretty risky. Still, if you're able to get a swarm of dragons out at once, you'll be able to get an unstoppable wave of buff dragons that will destroy anything in their path. After that we got Stylexi, or Stykesy. The stealth attached to a sniper is insane. This card provides consistent coverage across a huge portion of the arena, and almost always requires your opponent to expend more resources to deal with him than what you put in. He doesn't do anything super flashy, but that's what's so great about him. He's just a really solid sniper, and he can fit in pretty much almost every deck. And next we got the Colossus, and what is there not to like about the Colossus? He's big, he looks badass, and he hits like an absolute truck. Any deck that needs a big guy in there to get the job done will easily welcome the Colossus, and the fact that he hits everything in front of him means he can instantly kill fools who try to play Blood Imps or damage minions that are trying to hide behind a wall. This guy's just a really solid guy in general. Now let's go ahead and move on to the B tier. These are cards that can still be quite good but require a bit more setup to get going, and their value, while good, might not be worth building an entire deck around them. First up we got Troubadour, and like Dragon Nest, Troubadour requires some synergy with your deck in order to get his full potential. He does offer a fair amount of value as well and can provide some really nice defense when you may need it the most, but he's not quite as strong as Dragon Nest, and his niche isn't really powerful right now as there are a ton of really easy single target removal cards out there. He's still really good, but he's not going to win the game by himself. Moving on, our next card is Ghost. Right now this is the most flexible single target removal card in the game, but it comes with the risk of his extremely low health pool. For a 4 mana card, it's possible to steal your opponent's Colossus, and then use that Colossus to stop their entire push, but it can also easily die to any ranged DPS at the same time. It requires a bit of finesse to get this guy's worth in. The value's there, but it's just really hard to get the value off most of the time. And now the last card that we have in the B tier is Snake Druid. This guy has the same drawbacks as Ghost with low health pool, but he has the advantage of outranging many ranged DPS. He can also serve as a single target removal if let alone, but his damage isn't exactly the best. When synergized with other minions, he can get some crazy value in, but you do need to make sure that you protect and synergize properly. Now let's get into the C tier. These are cards that are really just not worth having in almost any deck. They're either too unreliable or just other cards do their job much better. And kicking off the start of the C tier, we got the Musketeer. Now this card I really wish I could put up higher on the list, and when I first made the list I did, but when I started comparing him to the other legendaries, I just realized there's no real reason to craft this guy over Snake Druid. They are both really strong counters to big slow hitting minions, but this guy is stuck on the ground. Sure, his damage is a little higher, but he's more vulnerable most of the time. Anything that can kill Snake Druid will also easily kill this guy as well, but the Musketeer is also going to be taking damage from melee units that can survive his parry attack. And he costs 1 extra mana. I know it's a little controversial, but I can't put him in the same tier as Snake Druid, so he's going to be the highest of tier C. Alright, next up we got the Wizard Puff, and I get the idea behind this minion. It's essentially like a 4 mana removal plus a mana puff, and then you tack on some RNG to squeeze out a minion that does DPS. The problem is that the minion barely has any HP or damage, and his removal is completely random, so you can't rely on it. Plus, the puff you get can show up on the enemy side of the arena, so it's essentially instantly dead due to the enemy hero. Sure, the potential is there, but it's so hard to make it work half the time. If you really need single target removal, then why not just run a ghost? It's 1 mana less, and it's a lot more predictable. Wizard Puff is still great for draft, but he's way too unreliable for ranked. And finally, we have Hypnotize. Now I really like the design behind this card, but it just costs too much for its effect. You technically benefit nothing, and you spend 5 mana for it. Sure, you can use it to get some extra burst damage into the opposing hero by hypnotizing any minions near it, but if that's your goal, why not just run a Fireball or a Beam of Doom, which are way more flexible and can do the exact same thing. If you're looking to buy some time on your board, why not just do a Black Hole? I get that the card is capable to do both, but it just costs so much that it's basically a dead card almost all of the time. If you're looking to do damage or prevent some for a short while, just craft Black Hole or Beam of Doom instead. Those cards are way more flexible than this thing is. That's gonna be it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you feel like I misplaced any legendaries, go ahead and let me know why in the comments down below. And if you liked the video, go ahead and hit that like button. Hit subscribe to go ahead and stay up to date with my future videos, and I'll see you guys next time.